Hey everybody, welcome back to another Lost Ski Area tour. I'm Avery Zucco, and this time we're checking out Tuxedo Ridge Ski Center in Tuxedo, New York. So Tuxedo Ridge this is actually one of the bigger areas that I've visited so far. It was opened in 1962 as Sterling Forest Ski Center, and in 2007 it was sold and the name was changed to Tuxedo Ridge. Now the layout of the ski area is a little odd. There's kind of like three separate trail pods. The area is too small for them to really be called trail pods, but that's the closest thing I can think of. And I'm starting on the one furthest to the east, so that would be looking up the mountain. It would be to the left. And it was actually a standalone advanced area. It looks like there was a rope tow here as well, off to the left side. I haven't actually seen that on any of the trail maps, but I guess at some point, perhaps in the 60s, they had a rope tow here. The earliest trail map I saw was from the 70s, so it seems to predate that. And it was this big wide open, slope that they cut. And usually when you see these big wide open slopes that are off to the side of a ski area, they're beginner areas, but Tuxedo Ridge actually had it was labeled as an expert area. It was called the Bowl. And it had its own lift, which is up here. Tuxedo Ridge has a bunch of vintage ski lifts that are really cool to look at. We're going to go through all of them. They're all in various states of disrepair. This was the double chair that serviced the Bowl expert area, and it was a Hall double chair. And I don't have an exact install date for this. I don't even know if this was, and this is the control room. One of the things about this mountain is that there is a crazy amount of stuff left behind. It operated until 2014-2015, and in the summer of 2015, their Facebook page was active. They were advertising season passes, and then they just went silent. The place never opened for 2015, 2016. It's sort of like the owners sort of just walked away from the place, and it was just abandoned. It's been abandoned since 2015. So this is the Hall double. Again, I don't have an install date for it. I'm not sure if it was actually originally from here. It may have been a reinstall. But it looks like a 60s Hall double chair. It's got all the characteristic components. And a lot of the chairs are just detached here and hanging out in the weeds, which is sad. People really like these chairs. They take them home and stuff like that. They pay money for these things, and it's sad to see it's just kind of sitting here. There's a very similar Hall double not that far away from here at Mount Peter, which is another small ski area in the Hudson Highland area of New York. And we're not that far from New York City. This is in the Hudson Highlands, sort of the Bear Mountain Harriman State Park kind of ish area. By Sterling Lake. It's right next to the New York Renaissance Fair, actually. So it's probably like an hour and a half-ish drive from New York City, depending on the traffic. This is a bottom-tensioned Hall double. And so this is the furthest lookers left if you're looking up the mountain. And now we're walking further up towards the other trail pods, trail areas. And there's just a lot of like ski area detritus that's been left behind. Old fan guns. These are some older looking fan guns from like maybe the 70s or 80s. It also looks like people illegally dump their garbage here as well, hence all the tires and stuff. So this is the next area. This is the next trail over. I believe this was called the alley. And this was also lift serviced. Had its own lift over here, which we'll get to in a second. This lift is pretty interesting. It has a little bit of history to it. This is a Poma double chair. And you can see the drive here. Some of the chairs are still attached. And it's got the portal tower at the bottom. And the lift line's already getting pretty well grown in, even though it's only been a few years. Now this double chair, it doesn't go all the way to the top of the mountain. It's like a mid-mountain double chair. But I believe this was the original Summit double. They moved it in 1969 here. Yeah, Alley Cat is the name of the trail, and it's called the Alley Cat chair. So this is an early 60s Poma double. I believe it would have been installed when the mountain opened, so I think 1962 is the install date for that chair. Even though it was moved, it's from 1962. And now we're getting over to the base area. So this is, I believe this was the ski patrol building over there on the left. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. It's actually a pretty extensive base area. Now the base area is right next to the New York Renaissance Fair, and at least part of the lodge was built in this sort of like faux Bavarian kind of style. So this is a warming hut. So this was like maybe like a snack bar kind of a thing. This may have actually been like the original lodge before they extended the lodge further out here. They had NASCAR racing as well. And they had a couple of these buildings for NASCAR. The banners are still up and everything. Oh, there's a newt or a salamander. No, it's a lizard. Move way too quickly. There's a bunch of race-related stuff, I guess, just kind of hanging out in there. Promotional stuff. Nature Valley promotional things. NASCAR promotional stuff. And NASCAR is ski racing. If you're not familiar, it's like going around slalom gates kind of racing. So this is one of two old Borvig lifts that Tuxedo Ridge has. This is the newer one. It was installed in 1972. It's a monopod style Borevig chair. If you watch my video on Cockout Mountain, it's almost the same chair in terms of layout. It's got the portal tower here at the bottom. You see a lot of these Borvig doubles with the monopod drive installed in like the late 60s, early 70s. They're pretty common. I guess they're affordable. An affordable option for small terrain. And it's got the snowflake bull wheel. Bottom tensioned again. Those are pretty cool little ski lifts. And so this is the extension to the lodge that was built, I think, in the... I believe in the in the 70s, late 70s, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. It might have been a little bit later. It might have been like the early 80s. But the lodge was extended over here. So this was the main lodge. Boarded up, vandalized. It's only been 6 years, but it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, they had a Wi-Fi hotspot, which is, a thing.
There's a hat pair. See that? Look at the pair of Reynolds still in there.
The lodge at least looked like it was pretty well cleaned out, although there's still a lot of stuff kind of laying around, but it's got that, 70s brown kind of look, and they did sort of go for the faux Bavarian thing with the clock tower and everything. And this is another one of the race buildings, or it's just a storage building for the NASCAR stuff, or just stuff in general. There's just a bunch of race equipment in here.
All the old gates are in here.
All the old slalom gates are in here, so... And the racing center sign still there. It's pretty cool.
The Alpine Racing Center.
And that's what a lot of these little areas did. They had, NASCAR racing. They had, race nights or race teams, and coaches. And, when you have a small area, one of the things you try to do is build a little community up around that small ski area. You don't have the terrain, but you can build the community, and you offer things like ski racing. And that's something that Tuxedo Ridge appears to have done, but apparently not well enough to carry it over. Now I know there was an ownership change in 2007, and it was bought by a corporation called the I don't really know how to pronounce it. Novanogan Development. Purchased the mountain. It was operated by James Mazzetti, so the owner and the operator were different. But I don't know if that ownership change, precipitated the sort of decline of the area or not. In any case, this is the main summit lift. This is another Borvig. It's a little bit older. This was a 1969 Borvig. It still has the monopod drive, but it has a little bit different style on the portal tower there going up. And this replaced the original Poma lift, the Poma double, summit double, which wasn't on this alignment. It was a little bit further back towards the lodge.
The lights, the switch for the lights are in here too.
And there's been some construction going on. It looks like they installed like some sort of radio tower or something, and they put this road in, so it's been
monolith.
It's been disturbed, but the lift is still intact. I don't think any of these things are going to be running. It's a lot like Alpine Mountain back in Pennsylvania. It's only been abandoned for 5 or 6 years, but that's really all it takes to leave these things unmaintained in the elements and to the point where, I guess you could sell them for parts, but they're not running anymore. The terrain park signs, this main summit lift, the trail, if you got to the top of the mountain and then you were looking skiers left, that trail used to be a most advanced trail, and then it became the terrain park. So I did some hiking, and this is hiking up now to the top of the NASTAR course. And I found one of the gates. And if you don't really know what these are, they have this sort of, like they're not breakaway, but they bend at the bottom. So when you clip them as you're going around them, you don't hurt yourself. Yeah. And behind actually this is up above the smaller Borvig double. I found this in the woods, and it looks like the top of a TBar. So right there's the top of the beginner Borvig. That was the later one installed in 1972. And I guess they must have had a TBar in there at some point because they have that small bull wheel just hanging out in the woods. I don't know what else it could have been for. And this is continuing further up. So that small Borvig is like the beginner Borvig. It goes like maybe 150 vertical feet up. The whole mountain is about 400 vertical feet. And so we're maybe like 3/4 of the way up right now. And this was the alignment of the original summit double chair. This is the alignment of the original Poma double chair, the one that was moved and is now called like the Alley Cat double. The towers at the bottom were well, not removed, they were moved back over, but they didn't need all the towers because it used to be a summit chair and it's not anymore, so the top towers are left behind. So these are the old Poma towers that are just chilling at the top of the mountain. And they look pretty cool just by themselves up here. I took a few pictures of them. I thought they looked pretty neat. And this was the original summit of the mountain. It was a little bit lower down than where the newer Borvig ended, because we're coming right up here to where that Poma ended. And right around here would have been the unload area. It looks like there's not a lot left. And then over here is the counterweight, or where the counterweight would have been. The support for the counterweight is still there. But this would have been the original summit of the mountain. And then up there you can see the new summit, the actual summit. The mountain's name is Tiger, it's either Tiger Mountain or Tiger Hill. You're about 1,200 feet up in terms of elevation. And this is the top of the summit double chair. It's got those square Borevig towers. Reminds me a lot of the double at Cock-Up Mountain. The difference with this one though is when I turn around you'll see. We're just admiring the view right now. But the top terminal is much different. Instead of bottom tensioning and then just the simple top snowflake bull wheel, it's got this much more complicated top terminal with these with these stanchions and this sort of portal tower kind of setup, where the bull wheel is suspended on the stanchions or on these supports, whatever you want to call them, and it's tensioned up at the top rather than the bottom. This was Ski Patrol Shack, I believe. You know, it's where they hung out. Got some chairs and a coffee table in there. It was nice and windy and nice and cool up top. Despite its pretty diminutive size, it's actually a really well laid out little mountain. The trails are just winding enough to sort of be interesting, and narrow enough to be interesting. This was Tiger Pass. So a lot of the trails have cat or tiger themed names because of the name of the mountain that it's on. This was really interesting. So this is up just off the top of, or just along that Tiger Pass trail. There was this maintenance shed. I guess this is where they would have stored, maybe they would have parked a snowcat in here or something like that, or a groomer in here, I'm not sure, or they would have stored snowmaking equipment. There's a ton of tires for whatever reason. And there's also tons of snowmaking hose just piled up.
Those are old chairs.
But I got real excited here. You can hear me getting excited. There's just all these old chairs just piled up, and I believe these were the extra chairs from the Poma Double. When they shortened that Poma Double and moved it to the other side of the mountain, they had a bunch of extra chairs and they just tossed them in the woods. And yeah, this was storage for, I don't know, snowmaking equipment, that kind of stuff. And now coming back down, we're coming back down towards where we started, towards the bowl, as it's called. And this is the top of the Poma. So this is the 62 Poma. But in its new arrangement, it was moved here in 1969 or sometime around then. And they, I guess, built a new top terminal, or they got some new components for a top terminal because there's a new support for a new counterweight. It's got this very interesting sort of counterweight arrangement and top bull wheel. I've never seen an old Poma before, so this was kind of interesting for me. Or an old Poma chairlift, at least. I've seen a lot of old Poma TBars, but I've never seen a double chair of this age before. Towers look like they've been modified a little bit because they don't look exactly the same as the ones that were left standing at the summit. And I also was kind of interested in these chairs because it looks like they lopped off the footrests or the ski rests. I'm not sure why they did that, but they did. An old Sterling Forest sticker. The name changed in 2007, but you can still, you know, find some evidence of the old name around.
Oh, that's how it works. Now I know. Now I'm authorized to operate a ski lift.
And that's looking back down the alley. And it didn't look like there was a clear way to get back to the bowl. So I went back through. Now there are these, they look like mountain bike trails. They're all over the mountain. I don't know if you can still mountain bike here or not. I mean, it looks like people do. And the trails are marked with arrows and everything, so I'm not sure if that was something that Tuxedo Ridge did. I'm not sure if what the deal with that is. This is like almost like a, it's like a glade, whatever. But you pop back over here, and then I saw that there was actually a trail cut that you could access the bowl from the alley. And so this is the top of that hall double chair. And it's got one of these interesting umbrella covers, which I've only seen once before, not in person, but Bell Mountain, New Jersey had a similar hall double chair with an umbrella cover at the top. And this was their most advanced area, which was kind of strange because, I mean, I guess the steepest pitch was here. There are steep pitches around the mountain, not sustained ones. It's a pretty mellow mountain, you know, a beginner's mountain. But this, you know, would have been it. This would have been where you kind of ended up. And that is Tuxedo Ridge, New York, operated from 1962 to 2015. So I hope you enjoyed this tour, and hit the like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.